We're here at the 35th District and Northwest Detectives, and after arresting one suspect and questioning another, police are still looking for the third suspect who they believe might have carried the gun in the Delaware Valley Charter High School shooting. Usually around this time of year, you're prepared to go outside with your hat, scarf, and gloves. But on a day like this, it's another story. Now this is the American-Swedish Historical Museum in FDR Park. It's actually one of the oldest Swedish museums in the country. Police arrest the man wanted for indecent exposure, stalking, and harassment. His crimes have deemed the suspect to be known as the Swiss cheese pervert. Reading from electronic devices is very popular these days, but it's a hard copy better for your eyesight? Police have confirmed that an explosion did cause the collapse of the row home. And just a couple of weeks ago, construction crews were out here on the scene doing work. But as you can see, they have cleared out. In Philadelphia, I'm B.Moncrease for Eyewitness News. I hope you didn't put away that winter gear just yet. We're expecting a second Arctic blast. And this time, I'll tell you what local businesses are doing to prepare for that winter chill. To many, this may look like your average playground. But what makes it unique only lies a foot underneath its surface. Swings, slides, and graves? That's right. When you're playing at Wacago Playground, you're possibly walking over 3,000 dead bodies. Archaeologists found what they believe to be African-American graves just a foot under the ground. Some of the bodies were found in wooden coffins.
Did come down upon the beginnings of the wood of one coffin representing at least one person's burial. So they needed to see that wood to verify that the people were really still down there.
Plans to redesign the playground stopped when the city found out there was a surprise down under. Local historian Terry Buckaloo told city officials graves from the 1800s were still below the playground. So why are they there and not in a city cemetery? Well, founder of Mother Bethel AME Church, Richard Allen, bought the land for a burial ground for African Americans since they weren't allowed to be buried in the city.
He established that because they could not be buried within the city, but his focus was to make sure that those living knew who their ancestors were.
Now, archaeologists will give a report of their findings to the city. The city will then work with park officials to come up with the best plan to redesign the park without disturbing the burials that were found. They will then go to Mother Bethel and the public to receive feedback. In South Philadelphia, I'm B.Moncrease for Eyewitness News. Well, there's a new trend for hospitals around the country. Gradually, you'll begin to see less registered nurses and more nurses with bachelor's degrees of science in nursing, or for short, BSN degrees. Local hospitals like Mercy Fitzgerald Hospital and Einstein Healthcare Network are already putting the trend in effect. But what does this mean for current nurses?
2004, almost every single place that I applied to, I had an offer, and most of the people I graduated with was the same way. Now it seems that a lot of healthcare facilities, hospitals especially, and a lot of nursing homes want nurses to have a BSN.
Peter DiGiuseppe is a registered nurse finding it hard to get back into nursing. He says this change makes hospitals miss out on some well-experienced nurses.
These are nurses with the most experience that we depend on to mentor new nurses just coming into the field. We can't afford to lose these nurses.
Now, some hospitals are offering programs to help registered nurses get their bachelor's in 10 years, but this comes at a price.
You have nurses that have mortgages, have kids in college. It does present an issue there, a financial burden.
So does the type of nursing degree really matter to the public? John Hannigan has a relative in the hospital. He says not all nurses should have BSN degrees, but more BSN nurses should care for sicker patients.
A few nurses with a bachelor's degree taking care of the sicker patients or patients with more involved prognoses would be beneficial.
BSN programs have more coursework than programs for registered nurses, but all nurses take the same required tests to practice. For Eyewitness News, I'm B.Moncrease.